Well, one thing you may know about me is I do love a cup of tea. In fact, I have far too much throughout the day. And very often, tea is my source of inspiration. Yes, yes, that is very true. And that has been very true with the latest range of the Little Squeaks collection. Look at the little guy in a teacup, fast asleep. So as soon as I started colouring this in, I just had to team it with our tea time dies. I've got two ideas in my head, so I hope you'll grab a cuppa and craft with me. So the first thing I did was to stamp and colour my little image, and also to die cut a whole load of shapes from the set. So for this particular make I wanted lots of teacups, and you'll see why in a minute. And I am colouring them to match the stamped image. So I've used the same Yoo-hoo markers that I use to colour up the image, and I've used 3 different tones of the same colour so that we get a nice 3D look and the cup looks nice and round. So we have a dark, a mid and a light of this gorgeous pinky red colour, for want of a better word. I have to say the Yoo-hoo system of colouring is just weird. I am struggling with it. The pens are lovely and I'm getting used to the pens, but their colouring system is quite strange. I think they have that down as a purple blue, which is just bizarre. But anyhow, I am working on some blends if anyone is interested. And I'm also using those same pens to colour up the strawberries as well. And because I want the page to have a cohesive look, I want this to look like it's all part of the same tea set. So I'm actually just drawing in some polka dots onto some of the cups so that they match the one that the little mouse is sleeping in. Then I'm building up any of the die cut elements that have layers to them, like this little strawberry. And then once I have all the elements together, we can start building up the page. Now these dies have slots in the saucer and in the teacups, and what that means is you can actually tuck them into each other, which means you can stack up your teacups, which means you can have a great fun sort of Alice in Wonderland look. And as soon as I saw the little teacup guy, I absolutely had to tuck him in there as well. Just the thought of him sleeping, fast asleep, on the top of a pile of very dodgy teacups that look like they could fall over any minute just made me smile. So I have got all of that together, and then I'm just sort of adding extra little embellishments like the strawberry. We've got a few tea bags being tucked in there, and the lemon slices and the spoon. So once I've got that all happy so that I like it, I get that glued down onto the page. I've then taken a stamp from the Fluffy Hugs stamp collection, and because I wanted those little twinkling stars, so I just thought, again, because he's sleeping, it could be nighttime, we could have stars, twinkling little star dangles. You know me, if I can doodle some dangles into a page, I'm going to do that. So we get that coloured in, and again I am using a Yoo-hoo marker just to match in with everything else that we've got. This stamp set also comes with these little Zs, so it looks like they're snoozing or snoring. So I'm putting that coming from the little mouse as well. Now I want to ground this and make it look like it's sitting on the table. Now I'm going to live to regret this decision. I do still believe firmly in grounding. I just used the wrong pencil. I should never have gone for anything that dark. So lesson, swatch your colours before you put them down. Don't skip it, because then you can end up making messes like this. So we're going to spend quite a bit of time rectifying that throughout this process. Because it is Inktense pencils, I've just let them dry, knowing I can work on them later, because once they're dry they won't move. And I'm just working on the shadowing while I wait for that to dry. So I do tend to sort of scribble it down first and then pull out the colour, and then I layer up by taking a little bit of ink off the pencil. The reason that I do that is if you start to scribble down again when the paper is slightly damp, you don't get the same movement, and you tend to find that those scribbles will get stuck on the page. But with it being Inktense, you can layer up really well. So I tend to put the first layer down through scribbling it and pulling it out with water, and then I build up the colour by taking the water directly from the lid. Now, to try to improve this shocking mess, I decide for some reason to put yellow on it, and as you can see, that just looks rancid. And we've now got a nice bright yellow, which turned into a horrible green. And I was working on a mixed media project at the same time, which was the Dawn and Julia Create Woodland Tots thing. So I had this brown paint sitting in my paint palette, and I thought because that was opaque, I might just be able to paint over and create a sort of natural wood looking table. So put that on, and again, got to let that dry. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I decide to add a little bit of glow to the stars. So we pull in the yellow pencil, add a few splatters and add a bit of glow to the stars, and then turn those stars into dangles because it's me and it becomes essential to my life. Now, not willing to leave this table alone, I then decide to use my alcohol markers on it. Don't do that either. I mean, it's fine, but just wait for the paint to dry. I mean, I've probably completely wrecked these pens, but I did try and scribble off the acrylic paint after. They seem to have survived. And yeah, I sort of left it like that. I'm now going in and doodling with my black pen. The reason for this is because we're working with both a stamped image and die cut elements, and the die cut elements don't have the black outline, but I want the whole look to look cohesive. So I'm almost sort of like doodling the black line back in so it kind of all works together, and then also going in and doodling highlights as well, because, you know, one black and white pen fixes everything, and it's actually the white pen that comes to the rescue with that table. For some reason I did it off camera, but I drew some sort of like little wood grain elements into the table and it's kind of rectified it somewhat. So then I add the doodly border, and again I've gone back to that Fluffy Hugs stamp set, and I am just stamping in the word dreaming because I think it suits a little mouse, and this is this page all done. Now, I did say I had 2 ideas, but I've decided to put them all together in one video, seeing as we're working with the same elements. So now it's time to go on to page number 2, and I am working in my Diane Reevely journal. I always get mixed up between Diane Reevely and Dina Wakely, which is why I had to pause, but it's definitely my Diane Reevely one. And I'm going to start off by just using a stencil. I think this is Salvage Patina that I've got here, and I'm just putting a little bit of colour in the background. Now, after the disaster of trying to put that table together, I've gone for paper on this page. Let's play it safe. We'll not do anything silly. We'll just get a bit of paper and glue that down, and Bob's your uncle. We've got a tablecloth with no faff and no fuss. And yes, so get that stuck down, and we fussy cut round it to make it all nice and neat, and that gives us our base to work with. So then I'm just going to arrange the elements. I have to say, with a little hot chocolate mouse, I did doodle the chocolate onto the bottom of it just to make it look like, you know, you dove in there and we've ended up with chocolate spots everywhere. And I'm arranging all my different elements and then sticking that down. Now this time I'm doing shadowing with my Copic markers. I used to do this all the time. I love shadowing, and now I've kind of just got stuck into always doing it with my Inktense pencil, but that's how I used to do it. I used to do it by flicking a Copic marker. So I decided to do that again. And this is another thing I used to always do with my stamped images, was to draw a grey line around the edge of it to create a little bit of a shadow. It's a technique I've not used in a while, so I decided to do it again. I think that's what I'm working on this year. Well, this year we're halfway through it. It's now my new goal is to try and start using a lot more techniques and stop sticking to the same stuff all the time. So yeah, we're doodling in again like we did last time with both the black and the white. I think it brings it together quite a lot. I did feel that the blue expanse of the teapot was just a little bit too much. So I decided to add some extra doodles into there. So I've added some sort of little spots, not exactly polka dot, but just little spots and little sparkly doodles. And I just think it helped to fill that in and to add it all together. These stamp sets come with little snowflake stamps. So because we've got the blue and pink together, I thought a few little pink snowflakes dot around in the background would be quite cute and bring everything together. So I stamped those out. And this is getting to kind of near the end of the page. So I again doodle the border. That's I always do. It helps to frame something. It helps to draw your eye in. And I do think it's particularly important in journals like this because you're going to have a spread on the opposite side of this page. It doesn't matter that it's going to be completely different and not a two-page spread. It'll work together because we've added that frame element. I wanted to add a sentiment, and I wanted a tea theme sentiment. So I pulled out my Curious Wonders papers. I think that sentiment says, should we have an adventure or shall we have our tea first? I think I live my life like that, and I can assure you I always have my tea first. It also worked out particularly well because the paper had that little touch of yellow which really helped to bring in the lemon slice. That was a complete happy accident, but I'm absolutely delighted with the fact it did turn out that way. So I am just adding a little line around each of the sentiment bits and just popping that down. And that's that's them both. I love them together and I love how these sets work together. Really happy. Well, thank you so much for joining me in a crafty cuppa. I hope you have enjoyed our time together. I have loved it. Nothing better than tea themed crafting, and I love the results and think I could just about drink this much tea in one go. If you love this collection and would like to see a lot more inspiration, please do stay tuned. We have got loads more to come in the days and weeks ahead. I can't wait to show you what else we have made using this collection. If you would like to see the collection in full, you may want to check out this video here. And if you would like lots more art journal inspiration, you may want to check out this playlist right here.